Well, first of all, I want to thank all of you for coming out and which one let you know we're going to do tonight. We have a destination in Colombia, South. I'm about to say South Carolina, Colombia, South America. South America. Gio made a connection with Chris. I just talked to Chris today, and he has some information that he wants to share with us to allow us to expand our portfolio with South America. It's a hot spot. So, Chris, I'll let you take it away.
Well, thank you very much, Jamal. And Gio, pleasure to meet you, and pleasure to meet the rest of the gang here. I see here Tamara and Crystal and Martine. And yeah, thank you. I represent the EM Hotels, is what the official brand name is. But what it is that it's two lovely hotels in Colombia. And what I thought I would do is actually do a little intro with you, followed by a nice presentation. And at that point, perhaps a little question and answer on certain things. And what I'd like to cover is just how easy it is to get to Colombia. And in this particular case, Cartagena, which is probably the gateway right to South America. That's like the top of, it's actually quite interesting. It's actually the top of South America. So you go into Cartagena, and then, so that's our first, that'll be one of our stops. And the other stop is going to be their capital city, which is Bogota, which is a city of about 7 million people with a ton of history and everything else that goes with all that history and culture. So without further ado, let's first discuss airfare. No, not so much airfare, but airlines. How do you get to Colombia? How do you get from the major areas of the US to Colombia? And I gotta tell you, there's a lot of airlines going in, and all of them you'll probably be familiar with. There's a couple that are South American, but the most obvious one is probably American Airlines, which goes just about from any city, and then they'll do their connector flights. Mainly could be their a connector or a hub out of either Miami or perhaps even Dallas or wherever their other hub is. And so that's one. But you also have United flying into Colombia, JetBlue, Spirit. You have the South American airline called Avianca, as well as another South American airline which flies specifically out of South Florida. It's called LATAM. And also we have Delta. So for you folks who are based in the Atlanta area, I think Jamal's one of them, Atlanta, you have a direct flight. So it's actually quite easy. So airlines and daily getting into Colombia, particularly Cartagena, as well as Bogota, is really fairly easy. And airfare would be probably competitive to the Caribbean. Now, speaking of the Caribbean and Colombia, when you think of Cartagena, our first thought is to think, okay, we're in South America, but because it's at the top of South America, it also has a very strong Caribbean feel. The weather is identical to any one of the islands in the Caribbean, but you would marry that with that terrific culture that I'll certainly explain more to you. So without further ado, I'm going to slip right into the presentation, and just, it'll take us along, and I'll start here. Now, hang on, I have to do a share screen, I believe. Is that right? Like that? And I'll do that. And you are okay. So I'm now screen sharing.
Yeah, we see it. Yes, we see it.
Excellent, fine. Okay, so here, what I'm going to do is start right from the beginning. So the two hotels that I'm talking about are the Cartagena Plaza, which is a lovely tourist type hotel just outside of the historic city of Cartagena, and the Andes Plaza, which is right in the commercial district or the downtown area of Bogota. So let's start with Bogota. Bogota is right in the interior of the country. This city, it's a population of roughly 7 million people, is situated on a very high plateau, and I mean about 7,000 feet above sea level. That's how high up it is. Therefore, although you're very close to the equator, the weather there on average is probably probably about somewhere between 60 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit every day of the year. That's the weather all year round. So although you would think, gosh, it should be really hot, no, you actually, if you're going to go there, you want to bring a light jacket and perhaps even a sweater just to make sure you're okay, because of the fact that it's so high up in the mountains. And Colombia does consist of a lot of mountain ranges all throughout the country. On the north, up at the top here, you'll have Cartagena and the Caribbean, and on the south, you have the Amazon. So it really has some really interesting dynamics and contradictions throughout this country. So the Andes Plaza is I would refer to it as a good, solid 4-star hotel, a city hotel, almost like it would be comparable to a Sheraton hotel in terms of how we would look at it. And the great thing about this hotel is that it's so centrally located that you can tap into whatever you choose to do. And going to Bogota is much like going to New York City. You're going to go for for the sightseeing around that large city. And there's lots of historic sites to see, and as well as also, so you may spend, let's say, 3 or 4 days there as you would in any large city, and then probably move on to another part of Colombia or perhaps another area of South America. Typical decor, which reflects the Colombian people. They love the bright colors, and and the lobby area is certainly indicative of that. The bedrooms have a lovely wood finish, and here are samples of some of the room categories at the Andes Plaza Hotel. And it goes right up to executive rooms and junior suites and suites. Food. People will say, well, what's the food like in Colombia? The food in Colombia, it has some similarities to Mexico, but not quite. There also are some dishes that are a little heavier than what you would find in Mexico, and also have like they have some lovely heavy soups, or they have heavy like they work a lot with rice dishes, and but the Colombians also marry that with international cuisine. Their chefs are excellent, and they will actually provide a wide selection of food, be it staying at the Andes Plaza here or at the Cartagena Plaza up in Cartagena. And of course, like any hotel, it has the gym, meeting space, and that was the short introduction on the city of Bogota. One of the things that was pretty cool when I went for my time in Bogota was I did a full city tour, where part of the tour took you to the old, I think the initial Parliament buildings in that historic setting on one side of the city, and they also had a huge open square, which I thought was pretty fascinating, because that was where they had, I think Pope John Paul had a youth rally there maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and just had youth flying in from everywhere. And they occupied this huge square that was probably, maybe as much as a 1/4 mile wide by a 1/4 mile long. It was just very large. And so it was something of significant in those days. Now, sometimes people will actually say, okay, they'll spend a few days over in Bogota, then they'll want to come up and actually be in a tourist venue, which is where Cartagena is. Cartagena, you can see, is pretty well close to the top of Colombia, and it's right on the Caribbean Sea. The flight time, for example, between Bogota and Cartagena would be 1 hour, and you fly over a mountain range of the Andes Mountains to get there. So let's go into Cartagena. Now, speaking of Cartagena, flight time to Cartagena would just be a tad longer than going to the Caribbean. So if let's say it's from Atlanta, well, let's say from Atlanta, it would probably be about a 3-hour flight to get to Cartagena. From New York, it would be about, well, probably what, 4.5 hours. From LA, probably about 4 hours. And Chicago, probably about 4.5 hours to get to Cartagena. So just to give you an idea of distance. Enter the waiting room. Okay, so I just admitted Jermaine. Anyway, Cartagena is a fascinating city. It's a city of a population of roughly, I think it's just under 1 million, roughly 900,000 people. And it has a historic component that I'll show you, and then it has a beach side. The historic component, or what they call the old city, is very similar to what I saw in Old San Juan. So if any of you have been to Old San Juan, and you know, with the cobblestone roads and the lovely buildings and the outdoor cafes and the stores and the shops and the restaurants and horse-drawn buggies going around, that's indicative of what you would see also in Cartagena, in their historic city. And many tourists love it. Now, the Cartagena Plaza Hotel is actually situated about a half a mile outside of the historic city on a beach that's called Playa Boca Grande. And this beach is a lovely beach where you'll have most of the hotels, such as our hotel, the Cartagena Plaza, but you would also have, let's say, the Hilton or the Decameron. A hotel would also be along that same stretch of beach. And it's a light brown size colored beach. The beach is certainly swimmable. It's a public beach that goes all the way along the road, and the hotel will share the beach. And then each hotel certainly has their little area where there'll be lounge chairs and umbrellas for people who wish to leave the hotel and go across to the beach. Now, this hotel targets a more leisure client, and so the hotel offers both BP planned and also all-inclusive. So much like you know, for those of us who are fans of the Caribbean, a lot of similarities. You can have the all-inclusive plan at this hotel if you choose. Some people have often wondered, well, you know, is it really worth doing it? Some people will do it for the comfort of going, okay, it's my first time going there. It's all inclusive, it's simple, it's reasonable. The cost of an all-inclusive plan would be very reasonable. For example, and just to give you a ballpark figure, 2 people all-inclusive at the Cartagena Plaza might cost them about $100 per person per night based on double. So that would be the cost to stay there all-inclusive. Certainly a lot more reasonable than most of the Caribbean pricing would be. So just to give you a ballpark, to stay here, including breakfast, would probably be about $55, $60 a night. The exchange rate to the Colombian peso is very good. For the US dollar to the Colombian peso, well, let's put it this way, you can get a lot. And as a result, the cost of most things are probably about 20–25% less than what would be paid for the same thing in North America. So just to give you a ballpark pricing, the dollar can go very far here in this country. And just to give you an idea of the typical bright colors and feel of the Cartagena Plaza. And food, both all-inclusive or BP. When you go all-inclusive, you can choose a run of the menu. They have 1 a la carte restaurant and 1 buffet restaurant. The rooms, the variety of rooms that they have here, their premium room category. They've done theme rooms. So for example, here's the music room. So everything that you go in here and you'll see, they'll have a theme of music, either the paintings on the wall or music that's playing in that room will be a different, will all be themed with music. They even have this is kind of good, I think, for the women, or for women who wish to go down, they even have they have a floor that they call them, and this is loosely translated from Spanish, but they call it the woman room or the woman's floor. And everything is geared to women. And so if women want to have that feeling of this is just their floor, they've got it. This hotel offers that. And I found that really very intriguing and actually quite forward thinking for the family that owns these hotels. They thought about it. They said, yeah, we're going to go with it. And for us techies, they also have a floor that is very highly technological. So much like when you walk home and you say, hey, Alexa, put on my favorite tunes, they have that here in this tech room. Our Alexa, turn on the television, or Alexa, open the curtains. They do all of that on this tech floor. And so these room categories are also available at the Cartagena Plaza Hotel. Executive room. And this, the artwork that you're seeing on the wall of these rooms reflects significant people who made a difference in the country of Colombia. Now, you might think, okay, what's there to do when you get to Colombia, and in particular, either Bogota or Cartagena? Firstly, with Cartagena, there's a lot of excursions. Just like you would find on any, let's say in Jamaica or what have you, there's got to be about a dozen good excursions all around Cartagena. Everything from the cruises along the ocean, or city tours, or tours going into the interior. They have this one tour that's a little unusual, but I haven't done it, but I think I'm keen to try it. It's one where you actually go into a volcano or volcanic type area, and you immerse yourself in a mud bath. And there are people there who will make sure that you don't, drown in the mud or whatever, and they'll even help to spray all the mud off you. And they say it's actually very good for you. And that's only about a 45-minute drive from Cartagena. So it's something that I'd like to try. I'd heard about it, and I thought, yeah, next time I'm down there, I'm going. Moving over, here is just showing that they do have a children's center, and you can sign the kids in. So if a young family is going, they want to sign their kids in, it's quite okay, they can do that, and that's one of the services they offer. I will say to you that I find that Cartagena is a fairly, I guess it can suit families reasonably well, and you will see families there. But it also suits a lot of young people, singles, couples, young groups, bachelor parties, bachelorette parties. They go there and they have the swingingest time. Like, they'll stay at the hotel, they'll leave the hotel after dinner, and they'll be back by breakfast because they're partying all night in that fabulous historic city. That's kind of the vibe. When you go to Colombia, and in particular Cartagena, it's really very electric, and there's a lot of energy, and the music is fabulous. The culture, the blend of the people that live here, everything from Hispanic to Black to Aboriginals, who are people who are indigenous of that region. And the blend is really fascinating to see the mix and just how it all works out. Yeah. Do they speak English? Some people have asked, well, fine, can I imagine if I only speak English and I speak no Spanish, will I be okay? The answer is yes. In the hotels, absolutely. In the restaurants and the tourist areas, absolutely. You will bump into some people who will not really have a large grasp of English. That will happen. But for the most part, you can be comfortable. And of course, spa facilities, gym, like you would find at any typical hotel. Meeting space. And that's the end of the presentation of the visual presentation. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop share and I'll just go back to us here. Oh, hi, Jermaine and Ava. Guys, now that you've had a chance to sort of get a gist of both the destination and also the main thing to recap is, one, easy to get there. The US dollar goes a long way in Colombia. With regard to Bogota and the Andes Plaza, wow, that is a city that is huge. It's like going to New York. There's tons to see, a lot of culture and historic and sites to see, as well as also being a fairly large place of business. I would say I would recommend spending 2 or 3 nights there. Would be really quite interesting, and there would be enough to keep anybody occupied. And then from there, hop on a flight and head somewhere else, either in South America or scoot back up to Cartagena. And Cartagena, being at the top of of South America, is really the gateway to the Caribbean. And that city is probably their largest tourist city, and of roughly 900,000 people. And it is electric, just an electric, fun city. And lots to do, and it's situated, and it has the old, once again, it has the old historic city, and beside it, it has the lovely beach area. So all that combined absolutely works. Packages are available through a lot of the wholesalers. So for example, you could book a package through Apple Vacations, or I know Delta Vacations sells packages. I'm in talks right now with Delta Vacations to pick up the Cartagena Plaza. American Airlines Vacations offers packages as well, or you can just do your own thing and you can just send us an email and just book direct. Once again, pricing is reasonable at these hotels. Nothing is really over $100. A hotel room would be about $65, including breakfast. And you could stay all inclusive at the Cartagena Plaza for $100 per person per night based on double. So fairly reasonable for our clients to go there and then get some good bang for their buck. When you're in either one of these cities, taxis are reasonable. Always ask the price before you get in. And it may cost you like $3 or $4 to get from the Cartagena Plaza over to the historic city, that sort of thing. In Cartagena, you could keep your money in US dollars and it would basically work. In Bogota, the big city, it'd probably be smarter to actually change the money into their Colombian peso and just use that as you go along. Or you can use credit cards. There's no problem there too for most things. Airlines getting there, as I mentioned, easy. American Airlines, Delta Airlines, United Airlines. There's also JetBlue and Spirit, as well as the South American Airlines, which are Avianca and LATAM. So lots of choice. Just before COVID, this destination was ramping up about 20% a year out of the US market. It was, the growth was nothing short of astounding. It was terrific. And of course, like everybody else, the brakes hit, but now things are on the rebound, and protocol and all the requirements will vary as we go into the next few months. It's really just checking the CDC. Right now, you can go into Colombia, and I'm going to say that I believe the requirement is simply an antigen test right now, so it's not too complicated. So much like coming home from anywhere, so it's fairly reasonable to have it done right now. And of course, we would just monitor that as we go through the next 6 months, as we get through this situation, really. And of course, things will vary. A lot of people are already vaccinated down there, so it's making things fairly easy. They're moving in the right direction. Not quite as much as stateside, but coming along probably at about over 50%. So they're moving in the right direction, and so that also helps to keep things at bay. All the staff at the hotels are double vaccinated, and so that makes it easy in terms of having a confidence level. And then whatever the protocol is of that, of going inside, usually it's wear a mask on the inside and take it off when you come out, which is pretty common to most places these days. Now, I'd love to answer, and I'd love to field it to you folks now too. If you have any questions, please feel free. And I'll be happy to answer questions. And if I don't know the answer, I'll get it for you, and I will respond to you by email.
Well, if anybody have a question, you can type it in the chat or raise your hand. But for right now, or come off mute. We have 3 in the comment section, and I can read them to you if you can't get to them.
Oh yes, please, if you would, Jamel.
Okay, so the first one is from Shawana.
Yes.
Brand new agent as well. She's
Nice
doing
one.
so well, Chris. She's doing so well.
Fabulous.
Her and Jermaine are a team. Is there a discount for children, or do they pay adult rates?
There is a discount for children. Absolutely.
Great question. Do any of the rooms have a balcony?
No, and very good question, Shawana, but the short answer is no. Large windows, air conditioned, but no balcony. Very good point. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, point taken.
Is that test I guess the COVID test, something that she was referring to?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so coming back, do you guys provide that complimentary, or is there a cost to that test?
There'd be a cost to that test. It'd probably be about $25 US.
Okay. Does anyone else have any other questions for Chris?
Yes, I do. Actually, I wrote a couple of things down.
Miss Giovanna White.
How you doing, Chris? I appreciate you coming on today. I appreciate you emailing me and following up with my busy schedule. I'm so grateful. So the question was, can the test be done on property? Is it off-site? I don't know.
Oh, the test is off-site, but it's within walking distance of the hotel. And the hotel will assist you to make sure everything is okay. But it's actually just a very short walk down the road.
Okay. And also too, Shawana asked a question in regards to the children. What age do you classify as children?
12 and under.
12 and under. Okay. And then also, you mentioned something about crossing over the street, possibly to get to the public beach.
Yes.
Does the beach chairs and stuff like that at this particular hotel have to be reserved, or they're just there for the people that belong to that hotel, or is it just anyone can come use those lounge chairs there?
People who are staying at the hotel. Yeah, so nobody else can use them. And then we have our staff out there as well to keep an eye on them.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Is there staffing there or someone out there to keep an eye open for different things? Okay, sounds good.
That's right.
And Tamara, I messed their names up. They're gonna get me. Miss Smalls, are there beach views?
Yes, there are beach views at the Cartagena Plaza. Absolutely, that is one of the categories that's offered. Absolutely.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Are you ready for my questions? Okay. So is the bedding guaranteed? Like if I book a king, I'm gonna get a king. If I book 2 doubles, I'm gonna get 2 doubles.
Yes.
That's very important.
Yeah, right. They will confirm that back to you.
Okay, and can guests come and go in the hotel, or you guys have bands?
Oh, bands? Oh, you mean bands bands and like on your wrist bands?
Yeah, so say if, I have friends that's already in Cartagena and these guys want to come to my room and have a cocktail, would they be able to come into the hotel, or you guys only allow guests?
My understanding is that guests are allowed to come into all the public areas, but I'm going to stop short and say that they may take issue with that non-registered guest going up the elevator to the room, to be very frank. Yeah.
Got you. Okay. And what does your all-inclusive include?
Oh, fair enough. You know what? It's mainly all food and all beverage. That's really that's really the essential of the all-inclusive. But
is it 3 meals a day or as much as I want?
Oh, I follow. Yeah, it would be 3 meals a day, and we also have we have a place for anytime snacks all throughout the day till about 11 o'clock at night. That's included. And then all the bars at the hotel are also included as well, run of the menu.
Now, if we book direct with the hotel, because some suppliers may not carry you yet, but Apple, you say Apple does, right?
You know, I'm actually just finishing off a contract with Delta Vacations. Apple, I'm still working on, but Delta has said yes.
Well, Delta is the precedence in my eyes, you know. Yeah, get the Delta. We'll figure everything else out.
Oh, I see, because you're in Atlanta.
No. I book so much with Delta. I love Delta. They're like
Oh,
Chick-fil-A.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like, that's nice.
Yeah. Well, those are my questions. No one else has any
Yes,
questions?
I have another question. The question
Yes.
is about room service. Do you guys offer room service after 11 p.m. or when the kitchen closed down, that's it?
You know what? I find that it's when the kitchen closed down, that's it. So let's say, and like, but usually, no, they're pretty good. Like, the kitchen is open till around midnight.
Mhm.
So it's actually not too bad in terms of getting room service fairly late in the evening. But at about that time there, you probably can't expect anything after midnight.
Okay. And is there a fee for the room service? Is there a fee?
Yeah, there is. I think it's like $2. The exchange rate comes out to about $2.
Okay, that's very good.
Yeah. It's a, you know, and this is one of the beauties about Colombia. One is that it's such a new territory. You know, for those of us that have, let's say, supported various Caribbean islands, which have all been fabulous, and then you step down just a little further and you go, wow, this is a whole new world. And Cartagena is probably one of the first and best places to step into. I mean, if let's say you've had a comfort level with many of the Caribbean places that we know and love, and all of a sudden you actually step foot on Cartagena and you're at the top of South America. Wow, it's really like there are similarities, but it's also packed with differences and just new stuff that I think any of your clients who are ready to just try something a little different will love it.
Okay. And then one more question I had. Well, I wrote it down. Let me see. I think I asked that one. Let's see. Does anybody else have any questions? Sue? No? Anybody else has anything to put in the chat? Oh, you know what? One thing too. What is a popular excursion that's not too far from where you're located, other than the 45-minute mud thing? Is there something else?
Yeah, yeah, really. I think one of the popular excursions is the actual full city tour of Cartagena.
Okay.
That is a gem, and it would be like doing, in a lot of ways, it's kind of similar to doing the city tour of something like a San Juan, Puerto Rico. But it would be similar to that, where there's a huge old fort on one side of the historic town with a lovely view overlooking the ocean, and then the different areas of Cartagena, and then they give you time to walk around the historic city itself. And I got to tell you, while I was there, just before COVID, I had the chance I was on that tour and I met, and this was refreshing, was, you know, sometimes people will say, well, is it safe to go to Colombia? I've heard all these stories and is it okay to go there now? Well, I spoke to two individual ladies in their 30s who were on that city tour. And I asked them individually, I say, hey, where are you from? And, how's it going? What do you think so far? And they said, yeah, they were, one was from Chicago, the other one was from Dallas. And they each said to me that, and this was separate, they didn't know each other. They each responded that they were very comfortable in Cartagena. They enjoyed going on the tours. They enjoyed walking all around the historic city. They enjoyed going to the beach and embracing the culture. And they felt safe. And I thought, well, thank you. I feel better knowing that you have told me that. And, so I wanted to share that with you from two individual young ladies who
Right.
stepped out and said, hey, I'm going to South America. I'm going to Cartagena to start.
Also at the front desk, do they have a concierge service or someone there that can actually direct the clients to local activities that are there that give suggestions and recommendations right on the spot?
They sure do, Giovanna. They do. We do have a concierge desk that does that. We also have a car rental desk. There are some people that will want to rent a car and drive around, you know, within 2 or 3 hours of Cartagena, either up the coastline or in the interior. Remember, Colombia is well known for its emeralds, and so that's something that people also go there for. And I mean, they have like the finest emeralds in the world right there in Colombia. And yes, you can buy them right in the historic city, but there's also some areas that you can go to outside of Cartagena where there might be almost like a wholesale outlet for those emeralds to purchase, and you know, that sort of thing.
You got 2 questions in the chat. Are alcoholic beverages included? I guess in all-inclusive, Shawana? I guess that we were talking about.
Yeah, that's right, Shawana. They are. The alcoholic beverages are included.
Okay, and Tamara asks, are there bars and restaurants near the hotels?
Yes, good question, Tamara. For both the properties, the answer is absolutely yes. Certainly with the hotel in Bogota, because it's right in close to the center of the city. But even in Cartagena, there's got to be nothing short of 20, 25 restaurants and bars, all within a 3-block walk. Easy.
Crystal, make sure I get this correct. Is the test for everyone or only? I guess, Crystal, if you could come off mute, I guess, and clarify that.
Yeah.
Help us out a little bit. Let me see.
I'm sorry, I don't know if that worked. I wanted to know
I can hear you, Crystal.
if the test was for everyone or only the ones like not vaccinated.
All for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because to get back in the States, Crystal, anywhere you go outside the United States, you have to test to come back in.
Yeah, so you showed that.
Yeah. Well,
And,
if no,
I have
go ahead.
another question. LGBTQ, how safe is that environment for, what you mean, fight in the air?
That's a good question. That's
LGBT.
a fair question. I'm going to tell you that from what I can see, and that's been asked before and discussed down there, the answer is yeah. Colombia is a very forward-thinking country, and they're fine. They're pretty hip to it. And Cartagena is a hip city, and so in Bogota is a big city, so no problem there. But in Cartagena, yeah, the answer is yes. It is accepted and not judged.
Okay, and also one other thing, you know how like if you go to New York City or you go to Canada, there's different areas that cater to LGBTQ where you can go see the flag and you can take pictures. Is there a section there like that in Cartagena that people can go in that area and do the same?
I'll ask about that if you like, Gio. I don't know the answer to that question, but I can ask, and then I've got your email. I can send you a note.
I will greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Got it.
Well, anyone else?
Oh yes, one more thing. You want to answer the chat question first? Somebody put.
Oh, is there shopping in the area?
Yes. Oh, yes, Crystal. There is actually plenty of shopping, both in the areas of and I think you're specifically referring to Cartagena, I would suspect. Yes, absolutely shopping in the area, but people tend to shop a little more right in the historic city, which is about a half a mile away from the hotel strip along the Boca Grande beach.
Is there like a local mall in the area too, within like a 20-minute, in case somebody leaves something, they have to pick up certain clothing? Is something something big that they can go to pick up things? Like, you know, if you go to downtown Cancun, there's a big mall on that strip going towards the downtown Cancun area.
Well, you know, in Cartagena, like in Bogota, absolutely yes. But also in Cartagena, I walked around like about 3 or 4 square blocks each way just to get a feel. And I saw just about everything that, if you forgot your bathing suit or, a pair of shoes that that you wanted to bring, or a toothbrush, or a blouse, or hat or jacket. The answer is yes. It's all available, all within 3 blocks.
Okay.
Anyone else have any other questions for Chris before we let him go? Well, Chris, how can they get in contact with you?
You can, okay, with me personally, well, you've got my contacts there on the email, but with regard to the hotel itself, I had it on, there is, now, Gio, you've got those on your email, don't you? The ones
Yeah.
from the hotel with all the res and all that stuff?
I have yours. Let me see.
Like when we had back from Isella, I think you might have that. No, I can send you a copy of all the contact information for making reservations.
I think you did send that to me in the email. I think I forwarded it to Mr. Stevens also this afternoon.
Yeah, I have it.
Let me see. Also, too, if the clients came real quick, was an anniversary or something like that, can they put like a fruit plate in the room to thank them on
Yeah,
behalf of the agent?
Yeah, they're pretty good about that. I have found it. In fact, it's probably that same young lady who, Isella, who we had talked about, who is our sales coordinator on property, who would then handle that for you.
Okay.
Well, we do have another question. What about destination wedding? That's a great question.
Oh yeah, very good point. Colombia can do destination weddings. They are set up for it, and in this particular case, the Cartagena Plaza can certainly handle it. Yes, we can handle destination weddings, and it would be a la carte. It's not so much like how you know, you're getting married at a hotel in the Caribbean, and they've got 2 or 3 different packages, and you choose one. I think it would be more of an a la carte build. But so the short answer is, yeah, you can get married at the Cartagena Plaza, and they would build it for you based on you know, and customize it based on what the client's looking for, number of people, that sort of thing. Easy.
And my final question, I know you have to wrap up. So as far as coming to see the property, as far as going to Bogota, am I saying it right?
Bogota.
Bogota.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, down there,
Sorry.
sure.
And then going into Cartagena.
Yes.
Do you offer any type of agent discount rates for us to come view the property if we needed to come see it before we send someone there?
Absolutely. We would love you to come down and see the property, and we would offer you special rates. I have noticed the rate structures, and they vary, but I've seen them something like, and get this, I think a room would be about $25 a night.
Everybody about to email you now, Chris. They about to email.
And then all inclusive, I've seen all inclusive being offered at about $50 per person per night, all inclusive. So in other words, it's not too much of a stretch to you know, when you're down there, you know you're being taken care of, you're okay. Oh, also incidentally, let's say the client's going into Cartagena and you're worried about transportation. What's it like at the airport? How do they get to the hotel? Well, one is they just walk out the door and there's a whole slew of yellow taxis, almost like what you would find in New York City. And you just hail one and it's $10 US, and it's only about a 15 or 18-minute drive over to the Cartagena Plaza. But if the client wants a little more security than that, a little more of a secure feeling, it can be arranged to the hotel where we would actually send somebody. We actually worked with a bus company who would then have a sign and hold it up for your client, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, that sort of thing. And they feel comfortable, they get on in the minivan or the van, and they're taken to the hotel, and they would confirm the price to you at that time for that. So you've got the option. When I arrived Cartagena, I just jumped in a taxi and it was so simple. It was nothing.
Well, Chris, I want to say thank you so much for your time. And thank you guys for all tuning in. And let's thank Gio for making that connection. His email is in the chat. You know, if you have other questions, you know, you may be a little bit shy, you know, but reach out and make these connections, because it's all about the relationships you develop with suppliers to allow you to really stretch your business and take it to another level.
So
Chris
true.
was one of-
I'll be glad to help you guys too. It's you know, it's my pleasure. Come down and see for yourself, and you know, urge your clients to step out a bit. They'll find it totally worth it. It's reasonable. It's safe. It's a whole new experience. It's like a whole new world down there.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. And Chris, enjoy yourself, and partners, y'all be safe out there. And thank y'all for tuning in.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye bye.